Okay, this is pretty hard to miss. King Charles III is on a dragon holding the world in his hand. That has some significance, my friend. That is not an accident. Okay, my fabulous, outstanding, interested friends. This is not an accident. King Charles riding a dragon. Let's talk about history. Let's talk about history. All right, this is the 2024 King Charles III riding a dragon, holding the palm, in the palm of his hand, the earth. And there's a lot of history about the British domination of the world, literally. There's a lot more to this than meets the eye, my friends. All right, this sold out instantaneously. There was like 5,999 coins. That was it. And if they didn't sell out, they were going to melt them back down again. They're solid gold, 22 karat gold. Now, this is King Charles and the dragon. All right, well, listen to this now. History and tales. In everywhere, literally everywhere, draconic creatures, dragons, appear in virtually all cultures. Not virtually, they appear in all cultures around the globe. And the earliest attested reports of these dragons, creatures resemble giant snakes. I mean, absolutely enormous, because I'm going to show you Typhon in a minute. These creatures, these dragon creatures, first described in mythologies of ancient Near East, appear in Mesopotamia, the Americas, everywhere, 100%. They're everywhere. Everywhere. Not one single culture did not talk about them, and also not one single culture did not talk about giants. Nearly every society on Earth has tales of giants. Not nearly, everyone does. The giants are described as simply massive humans. Some cultures, they're brutish, violent, aggressive. Many cultures, they're just gigantic, oversized humans. Giants feature heavily in the Bible, with Goliath being one of the most famous giants in history. And they talk about him being 18 feet tall or something, like it's a big deal. That is absolutely nothing. And we have been misled. And I think these powers are still in charge. And they just figured out a way to use us and stay in the background. And they are just using society for their whatever means, whatever they're trying to do. I don't know. But society is run by monarchs and rulers. And truth and justice and humanity no longer has a place. That's what I'm seeing. I could be wrong, but these wars, they're going on, and the hatred and the violence, and people despise each other. And this was all written about. They would hate, the nations would hate each other, and that's exactly what's happening right now. And this is the year of the dragon, and I think it is the year of the dragon. I think now you should be able to understand what the reality of our history was. Since Mudfossil has been out, it's exposed. And you can either hide from it, or you can think about it. All right? Because as far as I'm concerned, nothing ends here. All right? This is a long, long, long journey, my friends. And there are different stages of development of your spiritual existence to carry on. That's my feeling now. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. But I've done enough research that I believe there's enough historical documentation to support the giants, the dragons, and that they are very tricky. And they know how to use people to get what they want. And that is exactly what's going on right now. And these dragons, as far as I'm concerned, live behind ivy-covered walls. All right, remember what you're looking at here. The little beards, the bump on the nose, all this flary, flashy stuff, that flared piece, and he's holding a globe in his hand thinking that we own the world. And apparently, that's the way I'm seeing it right now. We are owned. And this is Typhon, and this is him in the desert, and this is what he looks like right up close and personal. There's the bump on his nose. And here's that flashy looking stuff coming down. And this is that little thing coming down on the side. And this is his throat. And these are the scales. All right, this is his throat right here. There's that flashy stuff. Let's come back out and look at it. All right, this is the actual throat. This is just runoff from a rotting carcass, basically. And that is his throat, runs all the way down. You have Google Earth, you can look at it, but let's look back at this again. You see all the scales? You see the fruity looking stuff running up the side? You see the beards? You see the bump? All right, here's the details. There's the dragon with a bump on his nose, his beards, that little fluty looking thing that goes down. Here's Typhon with the bump on his nose, his beards, and all that little fluty thing going down his very long neck. Now, that's why would you do that? They know what's going on. And apparently they still control the world as far as I'm concerned. Somebody controls academia. Academia is the kind of people that wear these little helmets and things to show how fancy they are and how important they are. And that's what I'm finding, is academia owns the world. They own us. And you have to pay them to get a piece of paper so you can get a job. Otherwise, go work in the fields. And then you have to do precisely what they tell you to do and say precisely what they tell you to say, or they keep your money and you still have to go in the fields, and they tell everybody you're stupid because they'll fail you. And there's no truthfulness there that I can find in academia, and I've been working 15 years against them, and I have found nothing but that. It's a systemic suppression of reality and truth, and they put it right in your face. I'm going to pretty much leave it at this, because if you don't believe by now, you are never going to believe. And right now, I'm just telling you, as far as I'm concerned, we're in the control of creatures that they're eternal. And they have figured out a way to take over and run the world and have the world pay them to become slaves, literally. It's fascinating to me that this can be just overlooked. So I'm going to leave it at that. Typhon in the desert, it's a dragon, and there was a lot of them. Quetzalcoatl is on the east coast of the United States, and he's quite obvious exactly looks like it's in ancient glyphs. There he is right there. He goes all the way up the east coast. All the way. These are all his feathers. And there's still feathers right up here in the green mountains, because feathers make things grow green. They sell feather meal. You can buy it to make your plants and things grow extremely green, as you can see. These are the green mountains, or the green feathers is what I call them. And that runs all the way up to Canada. These were very, very big creatures, and there's the beards on Quetzalcoatl, and there's his throat, and he spit all this stuff out into the Gulf here and created a zone that nothing can live in. Whatever he spit out there was nasty. It's some kind of, I believe it's extremely salty, and it just nothing can live there. It's a dead zone. So these, and this is his headdress right up here. It's identical to what's in the ancient text. And I can't account for the sizes of them. All I can say, they're here. They can be looked at in more detail. I certainly don't have the ability to do that, but somebody could certainly go out here and look at this. I know what to look for. I can point people in the right direction, and here's the throat cut, just exactly what it says in the ancient text. There's the red and the black. Red blood, black is the two different colors of the blood. It got cut right across here. Right across there. And the red blood makes things grow extremely green, even in the desert. You see how green that's growing? That's because there's still red blood runs out of there when you get extremely we get some rain. They haven't had it here for a long time, it appears, because this has turned black. That used to be extremely green. I mean, just brilliant green. This whole area. And now it's black. There's a dam there, but I don't think there's any water flowing at all anymore in here. And at one time they used to have, it looks like a dam was there, and I don't think it's necessary anymore. It looks dry as a bone to me. And on the other side, it's black as black can be. It used to be all this color right here, this green. And I mean, you just knock your socks, your eyes right out of your head green. But you can still see where the red blood ran off. Now, what's up here is just nothing more than bodily fluids, that just a sort of tan stuff. This is his body up here. That's his body right there. That's the throat. All right, one last shot, just for kicks. Typhon was spitting out all of this noxious fluids at this fish, and this is a gigantic, gigantic fish. His tail is over back here. That's his body. I believe his eye is right up here. That I don't know what it is, but he might have been eating a squid or something. This is the fin, and Typhon spit all of this nasty stuff from the area where his beards are. All right, let's look down right below his flared, flashing red eye. And that's also written about in the ancient text. And then underneath here, he spit all this stuff out from his beards. These are his beards right here. And somehow that beard is squirting this stuff out from the beard, it looks like to me. And all of that green stuff is coming down really nasty. Nasty as nasty gets. Coming all the way down onto that fish to kill the fish. It hit the fish right here and ate into its flesh. This is the fleshy part of the fish, from here down to here. Up here is a fin, you know what a fin is. They're just like that floppy tissue. But down here is where you got a lot of blood and meat. And it ate right through the scales, and you can actually see the blood and the meat and the blood vessels. These are arteries and veins and capillaries and blood vessels and lymph. Right here, look. This is an artery. It has all these branches coming off it. They feed into these little blood vessels. All right, you see them coming down? The blood vessels feed into all of the different tissue to cells, and they get their nutrition off of this blood flowing by. And as it continues, it collects here in the capillaries. So they're going everywhere. The black is the veins. So the capillaries right here dump their contents into the veins. By the time it hits here, all the good stuff is pretty much used up. Now, this is so unbelievably huge that we can actually see the lymph system. You see all these little bitty tiny lines here? You see those? This is what I called out in 2015 as the fluid-filled highway within the body. I called it a tubular network of fluid-filled fascia. And that's what this is. And this is literally vein blood. This is the blood that hit here that was vein used up, no good, black. The red, this is the difference between the red and the black. The red has still got some oxygen to it. But this is right where it squirts itself and it pinches it off. And this actually, I believe, is where your blood pressure is created. Just coincidentally. But you can see all of those little lines, they're not there for nothing. What they're doing is pulling back fluids. And those fluids are where enzymes and bacteria live. They're the tiniest little things in your body. They can flow through this here. And this is your immune system, is that lymph node area. But this here has been just disintegrated right down into the blood vessels. This is fascinating stuff when you really get down to it and look. It's gotten all the way down to here. You see it? And over here, I can actually see the lymph nodes being. These are the lymph nodes right here. This is a whole series of lymph nodes. This lymph node right here is being killed. You see that? If you took that to a really lymph specialist, they would know that that's a lymph node. And these are all the entries into the lymph node that come in from all the way around. And then inside the lymph node, it gets cleaned up, and then the lymph gets sent back out. Well, this time, there's just too much toxin. The filters are being destroyed. You see the filters here? The stuff comes in, and it's really nasty. And it's supposed to get filtered out. The big stuff, stay back, we'll take care of the little stuff and let it degrade. Well, there's just too much. It's overwhelmed and it's killed. And that is the stuff coming down to it. The stuff coming down to this one. Same lymph node, same filters, but it's dying inside of itself because that's where it's supposed to take care of all this toxic stuff. See, the same stuff is coming down to this one through the same filters. You see? Can't handle it. It's just too much. And they're dead. That's why they turn black. And the whole thing started over here. If we follow it back to who's feeding these to kill them, it's coming right out of here where that toxin is invading. And this is the lymph going over there to try to save the creature by sucking up all that toxin, bringing it down to the lymph nodes. That's what happens in your body too. You get toxins in you and get infection and so forth. If your body sends lymph against those invaders or that toxin, and it grabs a hold of it and it brings it over and it delivers it to the lymph nodes. Well, this time the lymph nodes can't handle it, just too much. All of them, just right down the line, they're all dying. You shouldn't see these. These are supposed to be underneath. Well, they're all dying, and they're blowing up on the surface. That's lymphomas look like that. They look like big black bubbles on the surface. And so anyway, this is what we got. And it falls right into line with Typhon, which is in Apollodorus, which was Hesiod pretty much wrote the theogony, which is the history of the ancient creatures. And Typhon was right in there. And so was Deucalion, who was Noah. And Prometheus was supposed to be the one that started humankind. There's all kinds of different stuff. We can really get deep into this stuff. But I'm telling you right now, they know what's going on. This is not an accident. This is not just some silly little thing they did just to have fun, a comic book. They know. Somebody knows this is reality. And these things apparently don't die. There's eternal creatures. They're not going to go away. Have they just figured a way to take advantage of society and live sort of behind those ivy-covered walls? I think they have. I think that's exactly where they're living right now. You see this? This is from a channel. The guy blocked me because he's asking questions. He said, well, how could this possibly be? I said, this is from biology. And I was very clear about showing him everything about it. And I've been blocked on his channel. So I put this up here. I said, the POV channel asked for answers, and I replied, and he blocked me. Giants and dragons were many miles tall, and these were the blocks come from. Rock is from meat. Or my buddy P, he knows. I told him, I said, the guy blocked me. So, and I've been blocked more than NFL.